There was once a boy whose father repaired watches in a small village. Every tick and every tock was sacred to the father. He would say, "Time is not money, it is holiness. How we treat time reveals who we believe owns it." But the son dreamed of cities, lights, and success. He moved away, climbed the ladder, and found himself busier than he had ever imagined. To celebrate, he bought a gold watch. Years later, he returned home, his father now old and quiet. "I own my time now," the son boasted. The father gently turned his wrist, looked at the glittering watch, and said, "You may have bought the watch, but does the time inside it belong to you? Time can be worn, scheduled, and managed, but that does not mean it belongs to us." The Israelites in Egypt lost more than their freedom. They lost their relationship to time. There was no Sabbath, no sacred seasons, no calendar. Time flowed like a river owned by someone else. Pharaoh owned their days. When God redeemed them, he did not just set them free. He gave them a new calendar. He sanctified their time. That is why the very first commandment to the nation was not about food or war, but about time. In Exodus 12:2, God says, "This month shall be for you the beginning of months. Unless a people learns to count time, they will never count for anything." Without a holy rhythm, even freedom will collapse into chaos. Before they even left Egypt, God started with time. Slaves do not own time. Pharaoh dictated when to rise, when to sleep, when to build. God said, "Time begins with me, and it begins with you." The Talmud teaches that sanctifying the new moon required witnesses and a court, because Israel partners with God in structuring time. Rashi adds that this authority was not just over days, but over destiny. Even today, we may not live under Pharaoh, but many of us still live by his clock with endless to-do lists, never enough hours, and even working on Shabbat to catch up. Holy time is not managed. It is received. Passover itself is God's declaration that time belongs to the Redeemer. Every detail is drenched in time awareness. It happens at evening, not morning. It is done in haste, not leisure. It falls on the same night each year and is passed from generation to generation. The Midrash says that when God redeemed Israel, he restored not just their bodies, but their dignity of time. Only a free person can tell time. That hurried meal of matzah is not only a memory, but an echo of when eternal God broke into the chains of chronological time. Yet today, so many live time poor, with families that never eat together, children with corporate-sized schedules, and prayer replaced by productivity. Passover invites us to reclaim sacred rhythms like meals, rest, memory, and presence. Jewish life revolves around zamanim, which are fixed times such as Shabbat, daily prayers, festivals, and blessings. They train our souls to move to God's rhythm instead of the world's. Ecclesiastes tells us, "To everything there is a season." Even the angels pray at set times. The Zohar calls these moments gates from above, each with a unique flow of divine energy. If you miss the gate, you miss the visitation. We think we are free when we make our own schedule, but often we are just decorating Pharaoh's clock. Holy time is not about productivity, it is about transformation. So how do we sanctify time today? We can set appointed times for prayer without waiting to feel spiritual. We can honor Shabbat as one day a week with no Pharaoh's tasks, a taste of eternity. We can celebrate the festivals to rehearse freedom through sacred memory. We can sanctify the mundane by turning meals into gratitude, bedtime into blessing, and chaos into cadence. The Baal Shem Tov said, "One does not live in time, he lifts time." Even a single moment filled with presence and love can be made holy. Sometimes God calls us into seasons where time feels like silence. Israel, fresh out of Egypt, stood trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army. Moses said, "Stand firm. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." Sometimes God's command is to wait. Abraham waited 25 years for Isaac. David waited years to be king. Israel waited 400 years in Egypt. Waiting is not wasted. It is where faith is refined, character forged, and noise stripped away so trust can rise. When we wait for healing, the delay can be agonizing. Yet the Psalms remind us that God inclines his ear to those who wait. Sometimes healing is delayed to reach deeper wounds such as identity, trust, and forgiveness. God is not ignoring us. He is working in ways we do not yet understand. The same is true when we wait for wisdom. In our age of instant answers, the wisdom that truly sustains often comes only through seasons of stillness. Elijah did not hear God in the fire or earthquake, but in the still small voice. The wilderness is never just delay. It is instruction. Israel received the Torah there, was fed manna there, and was led by cloud and fire there. It is often in the wilderness that God's presence is most visible. Freedom is not just leaving Egypt. It is learning to live in God's time. We are not only commanded to count the Omer, but to make every day count. So I ask you, do you live in Pharaoh's time or in the time of the living God? Imagine time not as a line, but as a circle of light, every point a doorway. God does not just redeem us once. He invites us again and again to walk with him through every appointed moment. Slavery always steals time first. Redemption begins when time becomes holy. To sanctify time is to live awake, aware, and in covenant. You do not have to control time. You only have to honor it. Holy time is not about having more hours. It is about inhabiting the hours you already have.